Did you know a home built today is roughly 30% more energy efficient than a home built 10 years ago? Once you factor in all of that cost, you might be able to afford more than you think. So take this AC unit for example. It's a 10 SEER. That stands for Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. Think of it like this. If you go from an 8 SEER to a 16 SEER, you double that SEER number, that will roughly cut your operation annual cost in half. So you could have this, or one of these, a newer, more energy efficient HVAC system. I'm here with Jason Lamberti, the expert in energy efficiency, but Jason, it's not all about the SEER rating, is it?
Now, there's three things that you really need to consider when you're trying to have an efficient HVAC, and I'm happy to say that new homes deliver on all three of those fronts. Number one, obviously, having a high SEER rating, but also the size of your system really matters. And then on top of that, the sizing of your ductwork as well as the seal inside of that ductwork is very important and critical. If you don't have all three components sized right, well then you can end up in a situation where for every dollar you're saving with the higher SEER unit, you're giving a quarter to 50 cents back in energy savings loss.
Right. So you heard it, three things: the proper high SEER rating, the proper sizing for the HVAC system, and then the right ductworks that are sealed tight so you're not wasting air. So you could go with that older home with the old system that's just leaking air and money in your attic like a slot machine, or you could make the smart choice and buy new. So this home was built in 1996, and I know what you're thinking, it looks fine. But if you take a closer look, you'll start to see that some of the siding joints aren't caulked, the trim isn't caulked, the windows aren't caulked, and water can get inside here, rotting that wood, and that creates a conducive condition for mold and termites. So let's see what's underneath. Tar paper. This is how they used to do it. How do you think it compares to what we use today? So I'm here with Clay Thornton, construction manager, and Clay, we've come a long way since that old felt paper, haven't we?
We've come a long ways. What you see here is a fiber paper that keeps the wind and the rain out, yet it allows the moisture and the air from the inside to escape.
And I've heard there's even a house wrap that can help with energy efficiency.
There is a foam house wrap that will help increase the R value on the walls.
So R value translates to savings, right?
That's right.
So new houses have evolved with the components and the materials and the building methods to not only help with weatherization, but to help with energy efficiency, saving you money. In fact, it makes such a difference that in many states and communities, they offer tax credits and incentives for newly built energy efficient homes. And that's on top of the savings that you're going to receive on your utility bills. Just some food for thought. So I am here in yet another attic, and it is hot. This house was built in 2001, and they have insulation. But why do you think it's so hot in here? So Jason, that last attic was so much hotter than this one. This one is actually pretty comfortable. Why don't you tell us why that is?
Well, that's because the previous attic did not have enough insulation in it.
Right, and so we have insulation here, so what makes this attic so much better?
Well, the home builder here addressed three different areas when it comes to insulation. Number one, you'll notice that they have really nice blown-in insulation here. It goes up to about 11-12 inches, and that's providing a nice barrier between the attic space and the living space below the ceiling there. Then on top of that, they have a radiant barrier applied to the roof, and what that's doing is just rejecting heat from even getting into the attic.
Right.
And then finally they address ventilation. They have good vents coming from the eaves, and that allows heat to move on up and exit right out through the side of the roof.
Great, so we have insulation the right amount and where we need it. We have a radiant barrier keeping the attic cooler, keeping the house cooler, and then we have ventilation, the proper type of ventilation so that air is moving through the attic, making this more comfortable.
Exactly.
So buy that used home if you want to, but I kind of like these new attics. You may be able to afford more home than you think. If you purchase a home with certified energy efficient features, in some parts of the country, you may qualify for an energy efficient mortgage. Plus, the resale value on these homes is often higher than similar non-efficient homes. So there is that. And many new home builders are offering solar panel options to buyers these days. And what you may not realize is that utility companies may pay you for that energy that you create and then don't use. There's federal tax credits and incentives up to 30%, state tax credits, rebates from local utility companies, a lot of things that can save you money. And yes, you can add solar to existing homes, but think about the cost and the labor and the time and the hassle all of that would take. Many of these new homes, they have solar included. So think about it, start fresh, buy new.